Hello witches, welcome back to the channel. Once again, this is Hecate, Witch of the Realms. And a while back on the community section of my channel, I had asked you all to submit your questions for a Q&A video because I really felt like doing one again. I was gonna just like wait or just post this again and collect more questions because I posted this 3 months ago, so it's been a while. I just decided I'll go ahead and just answer this little handful of questions in this video. So that's what this is going to be. So the first question, this is from Kayla K, asking, have you worked with Cali and any recommendations on how to start? I have worked with Goddess Cali before. However, I don't want to come across as an expert on Goddess Cali in the least at all. I do, in my personal practice, sort of, and this may or may not be correct, this may or may not be how you wish to do it, but this is what I have done. Basically, I kind of view Cali and Hecate as sort of the same being, or at least very closely related, to where in my mind I sort of merge them. Like I said, that may or may not be correct or what you want to do, so take from this what you will. But I think that they're just very closely related. And I know I'm not the only person that actually views it this way. If you look into the teachings of Jade Soul Luna, he is an author and a musician and astrologist who sort of takes the same stance that I do, that Hecate and Cali are merged together. Go look into his work. That would be my suggestion to you if you want to work with Goddess Cali. And since you're on my channel associated with Goddess Hecate, I can only assume that you probably work with Hecate already, or you're interested in that as well. So I think that that would be a nice middle ground for you, or at least point you in the right direction for determining that for yourself, if that's something that would fit with you. A little bit of insight I can give in my personal practice with Goddess Cali is that she taught me a lot about humbling myself personally. A lot of basically seeing my own ego for what it is and rising above that perspective, rising out of that sort of ego mindset and getting to a place where I could feel more as just a witness of my own consciousness. So sort of helping me to get into the perspective of being the observer of my own self and my own thoughts, my own thought patterns, my emotional responses to things. Basically just getting into that higher frame of consciousness to where you see yourself as something that you're also observing and witness of, and how that sort of opens the door to further enlightenment and further self-control and self-knowledge. So that was sort of my experience with Goddess Cali, working with her in the way that I explained. So there's that. So hopefully that helps you in some way. The next question is from Chris. Dear Hecate, what do you think is the role and or will of our beloved Mother Hecate in the events happening and soon to come in the world? So that is a good question, and this is something that has also been on my mind for quite a while. Let me just close my blinds real quick because it's starting to feel weird about them being open as it's getting dark outside. Okay, so like I said, though, this has been on my mind as well, wanting to like understand what is Hecate doing right now? What is she up to? Because I haven't posted a Hecate update in a while, and that's because I too have been wondering, because I have felt this sort of disconnect from her lately, well, for several months now, feeling she's distant, not really even knowing what she's up to, what she's doing myself. So that has also been something I've been wondering about, and I just recently, I feel, got sort of an inkling and an insight to that myself. So I guess I'll go ahead and share that, in particular with what you're asking, the events happening and soon to come in the world. So I can only assume that you're talking about COVID and the isolation, the shutdown, everything that's been happening, like, for the past year and a half, basically. But there, and I don't know if you just heard the ceiling pop, but there also is the changes that have been taking place and the positive as well. So I'm not exactly sure, to be honest, what you're referring to when you say the events happening and soon to come in the world. But I can tell you that what I feel that Hecate has been up to is she's putting all of her energy, all of her focus, all of her intention on continuing to change things for the better, of course. Now, this still it goes back to her descent, that period of time when she went to the underworld for 3 years and then she returned, and all of the crazy shit that happened while she was away. It still goes back to that, because what she is doing now is sort of still trying to work on fixing things and change things that were done during that time period. If you all have been feeling this sort of disconnect from Hecate, or feeling that she is distant from you or taking a step back from you, that is largely the reason why. It's basically that she's putting all of her energy and intention and focus into that. And so you just have to understand it, that that's what she has to do right now. So don't take it personally if you feel distance from her, or if you feel like she is ignoring you, or in any type of way not showing herself as much in your life right now. It's nothing personal. She is just heavily working on the world and getting things to shift and back into alignment with with the will for the highest good of all, basically. Okay, so that is what she's always up to. Okay, but she's more focused on that right now and causing these deep foundational shifts in our reality. So that's what's happening with her. Hopefully that answers your question. And that will continue to be what she focuses on in the days to come. I don't know how long it's going to be like this, but that is what's going on right now. And you know what? I'm okay with it. I'm fine with her taking a step back and being distant from me, because she needs to do what she needs to do, right? And I respect that. The next questions are from Sophia Rose. Do you have a daily practice? And if so, what does it consist of? Okay. Yes, I do have a daily practice. I have many daily practices, but some of them I tend to, sometimes just not do it. And then sometimes I do. So I don't really know if I feel comfortable calling those daily practices. There's something that I would like to be a daily practice, something that I would like to say here and claim that I do every single day. But to be honest with you, I can't claim that. The only one thing that I can say that I do as a daily practice is dream journaling. I think that is very important. It's very important to me. It's very important to my path. Dream journaling. That is my one daily practice that I can honestly say that I do every single day. I might skip it if I wake up and I don't recall any dreams. That's very rare. But for the most part, every single day when I wake up, I had a dream. And so I journal it. So that would be, what I would say. That's my daily practice. And that's what it consists of. Another question from Sophia Rose. What are some things that you recommend practicing on a regular basis? Once again, I'll tie that back. Dream journaling. If I could recommend to every person who wants to get into spirituality and self-knowledge and ascent of their own soul, their own spiritual path, their own spiritual journey, dream journaling is the probably number one most important thing that I would recommend, because it is about understanding your own subconscious mind. I think that it is the most intimate and pure form of understanding yourself to dream journal. That's my opinion, and that's my suggestion, and that's what I would recommend for everyone to do. And I have tried to drill that into my students' heads, and now into yours. So please take from that what you will. And the final question from Sophia Rose: how do you handle a spiritual slump? Ugh, don't you hate those? What I have found to be of the most benefit when it comes to that is to just let it go. If you feel like you're in a spiritual slump and nothing that you're trying seems to help, then just stop. Just let it go and just do something else. Find some other passion. Focus on some other project or passion in your life. Focus on your career. Focus on, your relationships. Whatever it is, even just focus on doing nothing, just relaxing and letting yourself go and just living a perfectly mundane life. Doing that seems to be what's necessary, because every time when I have been in a spiritual slump and I just let it go and I focus on other shit, that is when breakthroughs suddenly happen, and all of a sudden, at some point, then the spiritual will come flooding back into your life in some way, shape, or form. So that is one thing that I can recommend, that could probably really help you. It has helped me when I've been in those situations. And another thing, help other people. If you feel like you're in a spiritual slump, start helping other people. A lot of times what I have done when I've been in situations like this is I've just done readings for people. Do a tarot reading for somebody. And somehow that will end up stimulating spiritual advancement for you once again. Being of service to other people, I feel, is a great tool for helping your own spiritual path. Because, that's what it's really all about anyways. If you feel like you have gotten off base, you feel like you're in a slump for whatever reason, try to make yourself of service using your spiritual gifts or just any mundane gifts, and you will probably see some sort of spiritual blessings come into your life for that reason, and some sort of spiritual advancement begin to befall you because of that. So that's my suggestion for you on that. This next question is from Celine Moonstone. I'm curious if any bad stuff happened to you after your doom candle. I'm getting ready to use one, and I'm a little worried because I have a child and I don't want to put her in harm's way. I've done some harmful things in the past, but never the doom candle. Thanks, and hail Hecate. What I can tell you on this is it all depends on whether or not what you're trying to do is justified. This is my opinion. This is what I have practiced. This is how I practice and continue to practice, and I can only share you from my perspective. I think that when it comes to curse, and by the way, watch my previous videos on curse work and things you should know before you curse. Definitely go watch that, because that's basically what I'll be summarizing here. I think that curse work is something that shouldn't have any sort of stigma to it, like what your question is basically, I feel, is coming from a place of stigma and fear of using curse magic, as if curse magic in and of itself is wrong. I do not subscribe to that belief. I think that curse magic, when used in a justified manner, is just as valid as the courts of law or police, judges, the justice system that we have on the mundane level. I think that using curse magic in a justified manner is just as valid as that. I would never tell someone not to curse because it's inherently evil. I do not believe that, and I would never put that message out there. I think that would be just as silly as telling someone, if I went into a courtroom and I told a judge, don't judge this person as guilty, that's inherently evil. That doesn't make any sense. If someone is guilty of something, if someone has done harm, if someone has wronged you, if someone has caused harm to other people, then it is perfectly justified that they should be punished for it or given some form of justice because of it. I think victims deserve that. So that's my answer to you. If the doom candle that you're preparing to use is justified, if you doing this curse on this person is justified, if they did something that wronged you or someone else and harmed them in some way, then absolutely do the doom candle and let it be done. So mote it be, okay? That's my advice to that. And no, I do not believe that any type of bad repercussion will come back on you for doing that. I don't believe that. And the only, like I said, if you're cursing someone that's innocent, if you are the one that's being the aggressor to someone who does not deserve it, then absolutely I think that you will get karma back. So it just depends like how you're using this magic. Magic is a tool, and we're the ones that are responsible for how we use it, just like everything else in reality. So it just depends on whether or not it's justified. And if that sits right in your soul, then go for it. I will say, if you are scared to do it, then just don't. If you have fear that something bad is gonna happen to you because of it, and you can't put that aside and move past it, then don't even do the spell. Because I have noticed that people who are scared that they're gonna get punished for doing a curse, even if it is justified, they tend to then manifest bad things to happen to them because of their own fear and worry that they hold within themselves even while they're casting the spell, etc. So I can't answer this question for you other than to say what I've said. You have to sort of look inside yourself and see what sits right in your soul and then proceed from there. So hopefully that helps you, Celine. The final question is from Lau Perez. Hecterios, I would love to know how to train the will in order to avoid having second thoughts while casting a spell. I had that one experience, and it was not that I doubted about my intent, but instead, apparently, my core being was more interested in controlling at any cost, that to influence, which was the purpose of the spell. I found that when losing focus for 2 seconds in spell work, that stuff manifests fast and like mixed with the desired outcome. And thank you for your videos. There is so much information on them. So this is an important question as well, and it sort of just ties into what I just said in the last question. Getting your mind clear and focused on the ritual or on the spell that you want to do, and being able to get rid of any doubts or fears or any sort of lingering opposition to your own intentions is very important when it comes to magic and spell work. You do want to be in a place to where nothing will break your focus. Okay, it's the ancient grimoires knowledge. Whatever happens outside of the circle, don't let it distract you, right? When you're in a magic circle, when you're in a magic state of mind, when you're doing a spell or ritual, you do not want to let anything distract you from your intent, including your own thoughts, your own emotions, your own doubts, your own fears. You don't want anything in your own mind to distract you either. And unfortunately, there's no shortcuts to this. This is something that you just have to work on. Self-discipline. Anyways, as I was saying though, this is something that there's no shortcuts to. You just have to do the self-discipline, do the meditation, do whatever it takes for you to get your mind disciplined in that way, to where you can just not have doubts and not have fears or not have any sort of second guessing yourself or any other sort of mental distractions that could be happening. And I mean, the way that you do that is you just work on your self-confidence, you work on your faith, you work on your just self-belief and belief in the path that you're walking. You know, there's no shortcuts to it. You just have to put in that work and choose to believe, and all of that. So I'm sorry I don't have anything else to say on that, but I mean, it really is, that is how it is. And I know that takes a lot. There might be a lot of shadow work that you need to do. There might be a lot of unprogramming that you need to do of old core beliefs that maybe were drilled into you as a child and things like that, especially if you're coming out of like Christianity or something, and that is if that has any kind of power over you still. There's just a lot that you have to look at, and it's kind of hard to just answer this question simply because it's going to be different for each person. The kitty's distracting me. I'm trying to get him to look at y'all. Okay. I would recommend to you, Lau, to get this book called Clairvoyance for Psychic Empowerment. That book really helped me to do some different practices and techniques that can help you to master your own mind and have more control over these things that you're asking about. So I would recommend that book to you. I'll try to find the book and put a link to it down below in the description box just to make it easier for you. That's a really good book that you could use that could help you to sort of get into the discipline of training your mind and all of that. So that's basically all for this video. Those are the little handful of questions that I got. Hopefully I can do another Q&A video in the future. If you have any questions that you would like to ask me pertaining to spirituality and magic and all of that, leave that down below in the comment section, and I will try to compile a new list of a Q&A to do. So that's going to be all for this video. To those who asked and to everyone else, hopefully this was just an interesting video for you to look at. But I'm going to go ahead and end this video and play with the kitty for a little bit. Thanks for watching as always, and until next time, hail to the witches, hail Hecate, and blessed be.